This Army-Navy Betting Picks 2025 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACESGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome into another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez, and today we celebrate one of the greatest football rivalries rivalries in general in the entire world. It is, of course, the Army-Navy game, the, historic game that's gone back so many, many years, featured so many of America's finest leaders. And, look, it's just one of those games where it used to be by itself. Now they're tainting the tradition, but whatevs, man.
Bullshit, by the way. But.
It is. But welcome in, Cody.
Yes, it's great to be here, Rod. Army-Navy week, the time where we get to be rivals, arch enemies. You're, of course, in the Army. I was in the Navy. And, we get a face-off, talk about our respective services, schools, and looking forward to it. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, but this game and the whole feel around everything is just so great, right? From all the pregame stuff to, and the stories leading up to it, stealing the goat, all the crazy stuff they do beforehand to, going out, doing battle on the gridiron football. And it's old school football. It's the good kind of football, right? Running the triple option, not throwing the ball. Well, one of the teams can throw the ball. The other team can't throw the ball. And just old school football. It's so great, right? And then you get to the end and it's over and it's back to we're on the same team, which is, of course, for the United States and serving in the military together as those guys and the gals as well at the academies will go on to do throughout their careers. So it's a lot of fun. It's great. And that's what makes America great, right? Is we can go be bitter rivals all week. We can go at each other, go Army, go Navy, whatever the case is. And then at the end of the day, we're all back on the same team, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, and I think what makes this one especially just meaningful for everybody is that when you look at these teams and when you look at what it means to be a member of the academies, right? I mean, all these other teams, they're dealing with NIL money now. They're dealing with all of these big personalities that come through, and a lot of these guys are NFL hopefuls, and that's not the case with these guys. More often than not, many of them, obviously there's no NIL money because that's just not the way the academies roll, but like these guys are all mainly undersized, because in the military you can't be a 400-pound linebacker.
You're in military shape, not football.
No, and you know what? It's funny because sometimes when you watch these linebackers, right, or the linemen, you're like, all right, how are you going to pass height and weight when you get into the actual service? Because you do have a little bit extra on there.
Yeah, I guess they put it on for football season to take it back off. But yeah, it does. They are limited to the restrictions of you've got to stay within the military training and all that as you're going through the officer schools there. And so that part of it, and yeah, like you mentioned, you don't have all the, it's not, oh, we've been paying this guy in the back door for years and now we can do it out in the open or whatever. It's you've signed up to go do something after this and you're going to be held to that, which is great. So, and a few of them do get opportunities to go in the NFL, which is always cool. And it's cool to see the service branches generally work with them, right, to allow them to be able to play in the NFL and then serve their time or do it concurrently, whatever. But you love to see it.
Yeah, you do, and that's what I'm saying. It's the commitment that goes with it. Neither one of us now took the officer route, so it's not necessarily that we
bunch of dummies, Rod.
I'm telling you. Well, look at I sometimes look back and think to myself, would I have wanted to? And I see all my officer friends, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm all right with the enlisted world of it all. Yeah. But
I think we were on the better side of things.
I would agree with you on that one too, and so would the officer friends for that matter. I tell you what, let's get to more of this, but let me tell you first, to get access, all of our free picks and podcasts, they're all in one convenient place. Where is that? It is the SGPN app. You can find it on the App Store, so go download it for free. All you got to do, search SGPN, and it's all at your fingertips. It's funny because I had a friend who recently, well, maybe not recently, it's been a while, went through OCS, right? Went through Officer Candidate School, and obviously not the big branch, not the West Point branch, but just one of our local OCSs. And he said to me, the one thing I learned about being an officer is they really hammer the money home. You are financially responsible for everything in the unit. If something like a tank, if you lose a piece of artillery, if you lose a glove, like all of that.
People might laugh at that and say, how do you lose a tank? But I've seen it done before.
It's happened. It's not as uncommon as you would think it is. But yeah, he's like, no, everything you're financially, all they spend most of OCS telling you that you are financially responsible for everything and not, you should be scared of it all. So yeah, I think we did pick the right route.
We made it out on the right side of things, being the enlisted personnel.
Indeed. All right. Well then, like we said, it is the Army-Navy game. The tradition steeped in just a lot of tradition. These teams, both part of the American Conference, which is crazy because up until a couple of years ago, Army hadn't been part of a conference in a very, very long time. And then, Navy decided to do the same. And these guys, so Army won the American Conference last season. And then they ended up, not beating Navy, which is exactly the worst thing that could happen. It doesn't matter if you win your conference if you can't beat Navy.
That's right.
That's for sure. But these teams on two completely different trajectories so far this season. Navy coming in with a great record. Obviously, they didn't win the American Conference this year.
Three-way tie. So they were unfortunately the third team in the tie and didn't make the championship game, which was sad and unfortunate. But that's all right. They've saved it for this week, Rob.
No. Look, I'm telling you right now, like it's fun to have these guys in the same conference. I would hate to think that that they would have them play outside of the Army-Navy game, which I've heard that they were trying to kind of get that going, and I wouldn't,
No. And putting bowl games on this day is a travesty. It should not happen, but unfortunately, that's where we are in today's world, Rod. They've been playing this series since 1890. Not every year since then. It's been every year since I believe sometime in the 40s. Navy did win the first contest, setting the stage for this series, right? 124-0. Of course, Navy's won the most recent one last year in a big upset. They were underdogs going into that game and just kind of handled them. Navy leads the all-time series 63-55-7. I feel like this is one of those games where ties should not be allowed, which luckily we don't get ties in college football anymore. Navy has the largest victory in history, 51-0. What a hell of a year that was. Longest win streak. They won 14 years in a row from 2002 to 2015. And they're the reigning champs. So, yeah, pretty much all the stats say Navy's better than Army, Rod. And really that's, we already knew that, but the stats confirm.
So, but I will also add to that Army has won 3 of the last 5 out of this matchup. Navy did grab a win in 2021 and last year, but before that, it was Army in 2023, Army in 2022, Army in 2020, Army in 2018, Army in 2017, Army in 2016. Oh, that's great that your Navy guys picked up 3 wins in the span of 10 years. Wow. That's fantastic.
I'm glad you found those 6 wins. The last 23 matchups, Navy's won 17 of them, but you go ahead and hang your hat on those 6 that you won. Right?
I will, because guess what? They've come within the last 10 years. Thank you very much.
Because we won 14 years in a row.
I'll tell you. I don't want to hear it. Expert Suck saying happy holidays, guys, and thank you both for your service. Thank you for your support.
Good to see you, buddy.
Welcome back to Expert Suck. Listen, so here's the thing too, right? And as we come into this, the Navy 9-2 overall on the season. They are 7-1 in conference play. Army, I mean, look, they started the season with a couple of rough losses to some schools that they shouldn't have lost to. Ended up coming in 6-5 overall, 4-4 on the conference. But Army coming in just off of a great win last week as well. Navy coming in with 2 wins in their last 2 games. So, but it doesn't matter because you could throw all of that stuff out the window because it really doesn't matter when these two teams play.
That's one of the great things about this, right? And we see that a lot in rivalries where it's like, oh, you come in and we've seen how many times has Auburn, Alabama come down to the very end when one team's really good and one team's not, or Ohio State, Michigan. It's like you throw the records out, and that probably is more true in this game than any other because this game means so much. It's on the national stage. Like everything, like you said, won the conference last year doesn't fucking matter because you lost to Navy. Like that's the only, you could lose every game all season, but if you beat the other branch, that's what matters, right? That this game is the big game. It's their Super Bowl every year. And, you know, there's definitely been some lopsided stuff a little bit last year, that 51-0 Navy win that I referenced earlier. But in general, these teams are going to play each other fairly close, and it's going to be a good game.
Well, and like you said, I mean, these are 2 teams that like to play possession football. I know Navy does throw the ball a little more than the Army does, but they still play the triple option, right? And so the Army prides themselves on having the ball 10 minutes for every drive that they're on. And I mean, when there's 15 minutes in a quarter, it's very hard to get the ball back if the other team's keeping it for 10 minutes. So that's what they pride themselves on. That's why these scores have been relatively low over the course of the last few years. I mean, we're looking at some 16-17 games, right? Some of these low-scoring games. Last year was kind of an outlier in that 31-13 game. But, yeah, I mean, there's so many low scores. And this year they're playing in Baltimore.
Yeah, I think it was 9 of the last 10 have gone under the 40 number, which is kind of where this over-under started. I think it's down some places as low as like 37.5 now. But generally, this matchup does tend to go on the under. But we have seen, like last year, that the over is hit as well.
Yeah. So like I said, this year they're in Baltimore. They tend to kind of swap it around a little bit. They're in Philadelphia. They've been in. They just play in neutral territories. They never play at each other's academy because no one needs home field advantage for this one, and that's what makes it fun too.
Yeah, that's the way it should be. Really, that's exactly how it should be. And yeah, they've got this little rotating series of places they're visiting, and Baltimore's the home this year. So excited to see it. And it should be chilly. I think it's going to be cold there, but I don't think any other inclement weather, which can make it definitely exciting, especially with the brand of football that they play. But, yeah, I think we'll be set for a pretty good game.
I think we will. Expert Suck saying strong chance. We are on Army plus 6.5. They are 6.5-point underdogs coming into this matchup. Obviously, the money line favorites the money line underdogs as well, plus 194. Cody mentioned the total. The total set at 38.5 in some spots. Caesars has it at 38.5. Other places, yeah, it seems to be 38.5 is the consensus all the way around. So not a high scoring game by the books standards. And I don't know. I feel like that's a trap number. I'm not sure yet about what to feel about that.
Yeah, I don't know. This game is always tough, and I don't think either of us has the play on.
I did not take the total. No, I took a total.
You did take a total, which if your total hits, the over's got to hit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting because obviously, as you mentioned, Army likes to control the clock. They like to run the clock, but they only average 9 passes a game. They like to have the 10-minute drives, like you said. But if they get in a spot where Navy's throwing the ball a little bit or gets the turnovers and they get behind, they're going to have to step it up. What does that lead to, right? And we saw last year where that was Army's goal going into that game as well, although they had a better passer last year, of course. But, yeah, you can definitely see it going both ways, right? I mean, everybody just thinks this game, you always bet the under. And, yeah, that's come in a lot. But I don't know. I feel like there could be some explosive plays here. And I would say I think the Navy offense is very explosive, and I think the Navy defense isn't necessarily great, which could lead to the Army being good as well, which they've been capable of producing. So I think we could be in for a bit of a higher scoring one, but I don't know. Again, I don't think either of us have an official play on this one, but I could definitely see the case for the over. And I mean, nobody wants to root for unders, even in an option game like this.
No, nobody likes to root for unders at all. All right, we got more breakdown on this game, but allow me to tell you about our friends over at Kalshi. We just partnered up with Kalshi, a real money prediction market legal in all 50 states. In all 50 states, you can trade tons of markets, including sports, NFL-wise, college football-wise, college basketball, NBA, NHL, and more. Plus, you can even trade props like first TDs. Besides sports, they got a ton of other markets, including politics, entertainment, hell. They even have the weather on there. In Baltimore, I'm sure. I tell you, you can trade anything on Kalshi. You want proof of that? How about, I'm staring right now, how many weeks will Taylor Swift spend at number 1 on the Billboard charts? You can find that during 2025. How many weeks will she spend at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100? There's some folks that are trading on that right now. I think the 9 or more weeks is at 7% right now. So you can keep going on that one. 95 cents on the no. That's something you want to try to get in on. Kalshi new customers, if you get 20, or if you're a new customer, get $20 when you use promo code SGPN. That's Kalshi, KALSHI, promo code SGPN. Told you earlier about Underdog. Well, Underdog is your home for pick'em entries where you can win up to 5,000 times your entry. I know that we're going to give you some of our favorite Underdog plays actually for later on in this one. But, hey, let me look at boxing. I'm going to pull boxing up right now. Jake Paul, his knockout projection is set at a half of a knockout. So if you want the higher then on that one, you're going to get 3.96 times your entry if Jake Paul knocks out Anthony Joshua at least once. So that'll be, that's it. That's what you can do on Underdog. Find all kinds of other great stuff there too. And they got a brand new offer for new customers. Play just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACE, SGPN. Oh, the Paul brothers. Logan is the WWE guy. Jake is the boxing guy. And I don't know if America likes either one of them.
I don't think so. I don't think they do.
Yeah. I don't know. Would you take the Jake Paul higher than a half of a knockout? You think he's going to knock out anything?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not a big fight guy, Rod, so I have no opinion on this.
Good. Because I'm not either. So that's why I picked it. Because I don't know. Because if it happens, then I'm cool. Then if not, whatever.
One side's got to hit, right?
Yeah, indeed. All right. So let's take a look at this Army team real quick. Just a quick overview of their season. Like I said, they had suffered a couple of early losses to FCS teams. Tarleton State was a rough overtime loss for them. Then they turned around and lost to North Texas, but then who didn't? ECU should have been a winnable game. They started out the season with Dwayne Coleman to replace Captain America style Bryson Daly last year, who led the entire world in rushing overall touchdowns and yardage. And I mean, that guy was Captain America for a reason, right? And he left a gigantic hole at the quarterback position that they tried to fill. Dwayne Coleman came in, did okay, but then in comes Cale Hellums and takes the mount. And dude, that guy just ran wild against K-State. And I mean, really kept the job after that. And he's done really well with the team. Again, it was a tough loss against Tulane and a tough loss against Tulsa that sort of set the tone for the rest of the season. But Cale Hellums, just an outstanding guy, and that is where the offense is going to go through. He is going to run the ball more than anybody else on that field. And they do have some great receiving threats. Brady Anderson out there, who's got a touchdown pass or two in his time with Army. Not very many of them, by the way. There's only like 5 total passing touchdowns on the season for the Black Knights, whereas Cale Hellums has like 15 rushing touchdowns right now, so he's definitely leading the team in that. Noah Short, fast guy, absolutely can burn it. He's the guy that everybody wants to throw to, everybody wants to pitch out to and let him get to space. And then they've got their fullbacks that they always depend on. It's just a rotating cast of guys. So, I mean, this triple option, it is not the same triple option that you remember watching as a kid. They've in the gun now. They've taken a little bit of liberties with it and just a few more options. And Cale Hellums will throw back or will go back and pass it every once in a while. But yeah, I mean this Army offense, yeah, it's plod, yeah, it's trud, but there's still some wrinkles in there that make it look a little different than what you're used to out of options football. And again, they settled into a nice rhythm. They just ended with a great, thrilling win against UTSA. And yeah, I mean they're on a roll heading into this, but like you said, doesn't matter.
Just got to bowl eligibility there, Rod. So congrats to them. Navy, on the other hand, 9-2, pretty strong season. Open the year with a couple of the cupcake games. You get those out of the way, pick up some wins. take down Air Force in a close one. That was barely beat Temple, but hey, they were on the right side of things, getting it done. Dropped a game in early November to North Texas there, number 25 in the country at the time, and then got spanked by Notre Dame, who's a bunch of quitters. So there's that, unfortunately, but finished out the season strong. Big win over USF, getting the victory there, and then taking down Memphis in the final week of the season. Blake Horvath, he was the quarterback last year. He returned this year. He might be the only guy out there that's going to rush for more yards than your guy in Hellums, because he does that a lot, right? He's a big rusher. Alex Tecza, senior running back, going to talk a ton about him, so I'll kind of save my thoughts there, but he's the next leading rusher behind the quarterback, right? Navy, like Army, Army's more of the true triple option. Navy runs a triple option and option as well, but they've also used the other option where you can throw the ball a little bit more. Horvath is pretty solid at that as well, and that's led to Eli Heidenreich being the all-time leading all-time yards leader. What am I don't know what I'm trying to say. He broke the all-time record for receiving yards. That's what I was trying to say in a season this year. He's a running back, by the way. They don't throw it to wide receivers. You throw it to running backs. But Heidenreich has broke the all-time receiving record this year. So Navy definitely a little bit more of a two-part offense, being able to throw the ball just a touch bit more. And yeah, defense is good. It's very interesting, and we'll get to this in my first bet particular. The pass defense has definitely been their weaker part of things, but Army's obviously pass offense hasn't been great. So that might kind of be the true test in this game, is if Army can get something going through the air.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think they're really going to try that hard. I think they really are going to stick to their run game, because we've seen, look, Noah Short is a good pass catcher for the Army, and like I said, Brady Anderson is another one of those guys that can cast patches, but not, it's not something they want to try to do. They'll do it to mix things up a little bit, but like you said, but I will say that with both of these teams beating Air Force, the Commander-in-Chief's trophy is up for grabs. The winner of this will win it outright and be the Commander-in-Chief's trophy recipient of the 2025 season.
Yeah, that's super fun, because that's not always something that is available for this, right? So the Commander-in-Chief's trophy is awarded to the winner between the three academies, right? So it's like who wins the most out of the three or whatever in the head-to-heads, all that. And so sometimes Air Force gets it and it's not in play in this game. Sometimes it's, if Navy wins, they get it. If they lose, Air Force gets it, or Army can win, but Navy can't. And this is one of those rare years where whichever one wins this game will get it, since they did both take down Air Force. So that's kind of a prestigious trophy, obviously, that you want to have, being the best academy. So of the three. So yeah, it's pretty exciting that that's on the line this week, and just another thing for these guys to play for.
Yeah, both of these guys splitting it over the last couple of years. Obviously, last year Navy took it by beating Army, and 2023 Army took it by beating Navy, and then Air Force had it in 2022. Jerks. 2021 it was shared with the Army, and then they retained the trophy. Army had it in 2020. Actually, Army's had it 4 times since 2017. So, looking pretty good. Navy's had it twice in that span. Just throwing that out there for pulling out stats here.
All right, Rod. Speaking of pulling out stats, let's get to the bets.
Let's do it.
Well, I wanted to extend an olive branch, and I figured I would start with an Army play to begin the game, Rod. So I am going to take Cale Hellums, the Army quarterback. I'm going to take his under passing yards, 64.5. You can find this at -112. It is absolutely hilarious to me that the total for his passing yards as the starting quarterback is only 64.5, but I think the number alone paints the entire story. They couldn't possibly put it any lower, because holy shit, 64.5 is already pretty low, but you can't put it any higher because Army doesn't throw the ball. You said it yourself just a few minutes ago. Army does not want to throw the ball in this game. Jeff Monken is going to come in with a game plan of run the ball. They want to control the clock. And I think the only way that Army can beat Navy, so maybe this is even a positive play for you, is they have to run the ball and control the clock. I don't think going out and trying to sling the rock is going to get it done for them. As I mentioned, they average 9 passes per game this season, which is an incredibly low number, right? So if you think about it, if you're throwing 9 passes, it's going to be hard to hit this number. So hard, in fact, that he's only hit it twice this entire year. He's been the starter a majority of the season. I don't think he actually started the year, the first couple games as a starter, but since he's taken over, only twice has he gone over this number, which is incredibly crazy. Bryson Daly last year, of course, was the stud quarterback, right? He ended up being 1,000-yard passer when you add in the yards from this game last year, but it wasn't much. Navy held him to just 65 yards. He had 3 interceptions last year. That was this great 11-1 Army team with a actual quarterback who could throw the ball. They don't have that now. Army wants to run the ball. They want to run the ball. The one way that I could see this losing is if Navy goes out and dominates them and they're just forced to have to throw the ball a little bit to stay in the game. And if that's how I lose this bet, I'll be very happy anyways. So not too worried about it. But I think that Army wants to do everything they can to not throw the ball. And I think that'll be the game plan. Averaging 9 passes per game. He's only hit the over on this twice. Give me the under 64.5. And again, this is one of those where it's like, it's so low. How do you not take the over? But I think you take the under because it is so low, because he just doesn't get to this number passing yards, and they would want to avoid it at all costs if they possibly can.
You know, and I'll tell you one thing, though. In watching him all season long, Cale Hellums is most certainly capable of throwing the ball. And it's not as if this is an instance where, because even Bryson Daly last year, you're right, he was absolutely capable of throwing the ball. I think now future Army quarterbacks will be expected to throw a little more than the ones before them. And so you'll start to see maybe a few more throws in there. But by and large, they know that Cale Hellums is way more dangerous on the ground than he is passing the ball, because, yeah, you can throw the ball, but these guys that are set to catch the ball aren't necessarily all that adept in catching the ball all that well, because they don't do it very often and they block more. So I'm with you on this one, though. I honestly, because, again, as much as it just takes maybe one nice catch from Noah Short to get into the end zone in 50 yards, and then takes a couple more for Brady Anderson but even still, right? Like, this is not a throwing team, and they're not going to throw a lot. And if they do, Cale Hellums, yeah, he's uncorked a couple of deep ones, but by deep, we're talking maybe 30 yards. We're not talking, anything down the field too long. So, reluctantly, as much as I love Cale Hellums, it's probably not going to be a 65-yard passing game for him. And that's fine, like I said, because running the ball is what they do, and running the ball is what they're supposed to do. So I like it. I'll back you up on this one. All right, so I'm going to start mine with the Army total points. I know that we talked about the over-under overall being 38, but I feel like as much as I want to sort of dabble in that, let me go with just the Army total. And so over on DK, over on DraftKings, they have the over-under set, but it's set at 16.5, and it's, So what they can do is you can slide the little knob of one more notch. You're going to get minus 120 on this one for Army to be over 15.5, because I like this number a hell of a lot better than I like 16.5. I don't know why, because if they get 15, they probably are going to get 16, but I feel more comfortable with 15.5, especially at minus 120. Given that Army's had some pretty good games that they've scored some good points this season. 27 against Tarleton State, 24 against K-State, no less, 38 against North Texas. That was a big shootout. They did only manage 6 points against East Carolina, so that was a disappointing game there. But 31 against UAB. They got 24 against Charlotte. They got 17 in a loss against Tulsa. They got 20 against Air Force, which is another service academy, right? So it was 20-17 in that game. So both teams went over 15.5. They only got 14 against Temple, but bounced back for 25 against Tulsa in that loss, 27 against UTSA, the Roadrunners last week. And that was a game where they really had to keep up. They definitely needed every bit of those 27 points, because it was 27-24 at the end of it. Navy's defense has been okay, but they've also given up a few points here and there. They opened the season by only giving up 7 to VMI, but I mean, that's VMI. UAB touched them up for 24 points. Tulsa got them for 23. Rice was 13 points, but Air Force got 31 points against them, right? This was a 34-31 game against Air Force. Air Force played them tough. I feel like this could be an instance where, it may not be a 34-31 game, but this could very easily be a, 21-17 game, something in that realm, right? A real close one that these games have been before, because in the history, last year, like we said, it was 31-13. Army got 17 points in 2023, rather, to Navy's 11. Army scored 20 to Navy's 17 in 2022. 2021, it was a 17-13 game, but Army got 15-0 against them in 2020. And Army did 17-10 in 2018. So they've scored at least 17 points in a few of these games over the course of the last few years. And, look, this is not an Army team that's allergic to scoring more than 2 touchdowns. Like, these guys can break off a huge run. Noah Short's been known to just scamper off and get in the end zone. And Blake and Cale Hellums is money on the goal line too. So it's, these guys can score points. And I think 15 is a low bar for that. And I'm going to take the 15.5, the little slider thing, at -120.
Yeah, and if this hits, I think the over in the game is going to hit. And the more I think about it, and the more I've kind of looked through this stuff and broken it down, I am starting to like the over a little bit more. I think we're going to get some explosive plays. Not, it's not necessarily going to be they're both going to come out and sling the ball for 300 yards through the air. That's not what we're going to get. But I think that there's a lot of guys in this game who have the ability to break big plays, and 2-3 big plays just in total could easily bring the score up pretty quickly in this. So I don't completely hate it. Navy will still win, but I could see Army getting to the 16 points, Rob.
Look, Cale Hellums actually carried the ball like 40 some odd times against Kansas State. Like he completely took that game over and just ran all over everybody. 124 yards in that game against Kansas State, 41 carries, 21 carries for 143 yards against Charlotte. I mean, this guy's just been outstanding and can break big runs. Along of 50 against Charlotte as well. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. A lot of these guys are capable of big plays, and I think we're going to see quite a few of them as we move through this game. All right, we'll come back with more bets, but I first want to tell you about our friends over at Novig. We're brought to you by Novig. Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market. Novig, you are getting the best prices. How best? Well, how about this one for Cody? Drake May has never thrown for 300 yards in a game. There's only a 12% chance that he does it. They just made the market. Yes, plus 700. No, minus 852. So, will Drake May throw for 300 yards this week? Then that is your plus 700 for yes, if you believe in that. Go download the Novig app and get $50 when you spend $5. Use our promo code SGPN. Get in on the action with Novig, promo code SGPN. Rhythm is absolutely crushing it this NFL season, especially on props. They've been really good at identifying when to fade players and take those unders. College basketball is up and running, and with 300 plus schools, Rhythm has predictions for every game, every night, which pairs nicely with the daily TCE shows with Matt, Colby, and Noah. Every game, you are prepared. Super easy to sign up, run predictions off the house model, or make your own and play with the sliders. With so many sports and the holidays, makes it easy to get an elite prediction on a game so that I can focus on other sports. Let's turn our attention to the Buccaneers and the Falcons. That's going on tonight, as a matter of fact. Kyle Pitts, under 59.5 receiving yards. Sure, he's been over this number the last couple of weeks, but that was the first time in 5 weeks, those 2 weeks, that he was over that number. Kirk Cousins may be the cheat code, but maybe not for Kyle Pitts this week. My fantasy team would appreciate that too if you'd like. Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off of your first month. Download Rhythm. Use promo code SGPN25. This game tonight should be something. It's the start of fantasy playoffs, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be tonight either, Rob. But
tomorrow night.
That it was Thursday.
I'm so used to doing the last episode of the week with you on Thursday. Holy hell, it's Wednesday today.
It is Wednesday. Condensed schedule because you, of course, have Army duties this week. How fitting. But all right, Rod, next up for me, I'm going to go over to Eli Heidenreich, who we already talked about, and I misspoke earlier. He's the all-time receiving yards leader at Navy now, after breaking that record earlier this season in a game where he caught 5 passes for 146 yards. Back to the point of explosive plays happening in this game, right? So I'm going to take his over receiving yards at 45.5. Get that at minus 115. Like I said, all-time leading receiver. He's been great. He's gone over this game over this total in the last 2 games. Big games to end out the season against USF and Memphis as they were trying to vie for that conference championship game bid, right? Needed to get some wins there. Got the wins. Unfortunately, didn't make the conference championship game, but big game, need him, senior, go out and play, and he got it done, right? He's done it 6 times this season, including 243 yards receiving against Air Force, and then 146 against USF a couple of weeks ago. And again, it was only a couple of catches. He doesn't need a ton of catches, but this is a game where Army's going to be a tough defense, right? They're going to try and stop their run up the middle, make Navy throw the ball a little bit. You can get it out into this running back's hands, let him do the work. He can do the work. He's put it in. He's shown that. He's been a great receiver, obviously, the all-time leading receiver for Navy. And all he has to do is go out and get you 46 receiving yards in the biggest game of his career, his final time facing Army in the Army-Navy game. Love it for this kid. So give me Eli Heidenreich over 45.5 receiving yards, -115.
It's such a low number. And again, when you talk about these triple option teams, then you're kind of like, it's not really these receivers show. But like you said, Navy does tend to use them more. And honestly, that is how you beat Army, right? You just keep throwing on them because their secondary is not the greatest strength of that team. And you see it when they play these teams that are super pass heavy and these super, it's just incredible to watch this secondary try to keep up with some of these speedy, fast receivers. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously you know which part to attack because, listen, rush defense is their strength anyways, which is what they're looking at. So, yeah, 100%. I hate it, but, I'm with you on this one for sure. All right. Cale Hellums, we just talked about him earlier, about his passing total. Well, his rushing total, you could actually get it at plus 110 or 110 or more rushing yards over on DraftKings. -102 for this one, so barely juiced. It's almost even money on this. And like I said, Cale Hellums, man, the ball goes through him. He's got 264 carries this season, 23 carries last week, 32 the week before that, 36, 26, 38, 21, 21, 41 against Kansas State. Might I remind you, he's the quarterback. This is a guy that's supposed to be handing the ball off, but instead he keeps it. Well, he turns those into good yardage each and every time that he touches the ball. He's averaging 4.1 yards per carry this season. He's had at least 110 yards in 5 total games so far. 159 yards against Tulsa, 118 yards against Temple, 163 yards against Tulane, 143 the week before that against Charlotte, and then 124 yards in that big game against Kansas State. So, I mean, he got 90 yards last week against UTSA, but that was a game that, again, he was handing the ball off to Noah Short, finding Noah Short and getting Noah Short involved. But this is not how I 100% know, especially in his senior year, Jeff Monken absolutely loves to highlight these seniors. And, of course, there's no bigger senior than him on the field right now. And 110 yards, I know Navy's rush defense can allow that type of production. And that's really the bread and butter of this Army offense is rushing the ball. They haven't been handing it off to their B-backs very often anymore. It just feels like it's either Noah Short or Cale Hellums that's been getting the ball and getting the carries. So, like I said, if at 4.1 a pop, all he's got to do is carry it 15, 20 times, and he's there. And I think, like I said, this is a very safe option for you if you would like to take the 110-plus yards on DK.
There you go, Rod. Not going to argue too much. Again, I do think that we're going to see some offensive production in this, and I think that Army wants to run the ball, and if you want to run the ball, he's going to be your most dangerous runner, so I'm sure that they will attempt to run the ball with him plenty. Breaks one, and you could easily hit this one. So I'm not going to ride it with you because I'm not going to be betting any positive Army bets, of course, this week, but I'll accept it, Rod. So moving on, for me, I'm going to break out the ladder. The guys on the main show, the Sports Gambling Podcast, they always like to give out their ladders generally on the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. We do car lifts, but we'll go with the ladder since it is football, and that's kind of where this started. So I'm going to go to senior fullback. Like, come on, Rod, a fullback in the Navy, at the Navy Cat. Like, this is This is what we're all about, right? So, senior fullback, Alex Tecza, going to take him. It's his last game, his last chance in this, right? And actually, he's been bottled up the last 2 years against Army and not gotten a lot done. And I think that is going to light a fire under him in this game. I think he's going to come out and do what he is capable of doing. So we're going to start. His over is 64.5, minus 114. We're going to play that. That's the main bet. And then ladder it up as far as you want to. I did 80 yards at 154, plus 154, that is. 100 plus yards at plus 280. 120 plus yards at plus 550. If you want to go higher, ride that ladder. I'm all good for it. But like I said, senior, last chance to do this. And the other thing is Blake Horvath, the quarterback, is much like your quarterback, right, is the guy. He's the main rusher. He's the lead guy. I think that Army is going to key in on trying to stop him. And I think that, again, if they want to win this game, that's what they're going to have to do. That might allow the ball to get into Texas' hand a little bit more. He's gone over this total in 6 games this year. And to the latter point of things, when he's gone over it, 4 of those games, it's been over 100 yards. He's had some huge games, including the last 2. Memphis, last time out here, 103 rushing yards, 26 carries, just absolutely feeding him against USF. And these are, again, remember, big games. USF was a ranked team when they played them. These are big games where they're trying to go out and win these big games. So 103 against Memphis, 126 against USF. So that's catching all levels of this ladder, right? If you're getting to that. 20 yards against Notre Dame, okay, fine. Like, it's Notre Dame, right? Obviously, we know before they quit how good they were. Sorry, the experts suck. I know you hate that, but that's what happened. Had a few games in there with some 59s, some 55s, right? Air Force was not a good game. He might have got hurt in that game. I can't quite remember, but going back, 104 yards against Rice, 72 yards against Tulsa, 111 against UAB, 89 to open the season against VMI. He's been extremely productive all year long. Now you come into this final Army-Navy game with a chance to leave his mark on this game as the Navy fullback, the big man, barrel it up the middle. I think he's going to do just that, and I'm going to ride that ladder with Alex Tecza. You can get his over, again, 64.5. Then we're doing the 80 plus at plus 154, 100 plus at plus 280, 120 plus 550. The Alex Tecza rushing ladder.
I will take the under. Thank you. On all of it. I will say that he will not get anywhere near that. So I love it. I love it because guess what? Army's going to have the ball for 45 minutes, and there's no way he's going to get all those yards in only 15 minutes of actual having the ball. So good luck. Good luck, buddy. Love you on that one. All right. I'm going to go with my final bet is Army plus 6.5. You can get this at minus 115. Look, Army's covered this spread in each of their last 4 games. They've done it against the Midshipmen in 3 of the last 4 games overall have covered this spread. So, like we said, this is going to be a very tough battle. I don't see this being another 31-13 game. I feel like this is going to be a little more close because, again, the quarterback's not going to throw 3 interceptions in this game. They're just not going to let it happen. That means possessions for Navy and Army won't be enough to warrant a 31-13 game. Like I said, this will probably be more like a 24 to whatever 17 game rather than a 31-13. So love it. And then I'm taking my Army on the money line, plus 194 over on Caesars. Just like I said, go Army, beat Navy is all the handicap is at this point.
All right. Well, I'm going to do some first touchdowns quick before I give out my official picks on the game, Rod. So first touchdowns, much like they do on the Sports Gambling Podcast, the main show, take a unit, break it up, do it however you want to, because I'm going to start with Tecza plus 400. So you're probably going to put a little more on him to make it worth it, right? But 4-1 for him. Just talked about him, the senior fullback. Let's get him into the end zone. Then I am going to go with Mr. Chapman here. I didn't write his first name down, Rod. That was horrible on my part. But he scored in this game last year. So you like to see that. Another senior on the team, 18-yard receiving touchdown last year, has 3 touchdowns this season. Again, if you're trying to work in the seniors, I think there is something to that, right? They're not going to go out of their way to make sure it's only the seniors, right? Or target Mike Evans 100 times because he needs 15 more catches, But if you get a chance to put it in one of the seniors' hands, those are the guys you want to get in the end zone. So 13-1. Scored in this game last year, got a couple of touchdowns this year, a big play type of guy. You like that, so we're going to take that. The Navy, DST, you can get. These are all over on DraftKings, by the way. Navy DST, so if you get that special teams return, great. The defense, maybe 40-1. They had 3 picks in this game last year. Probably, like you said, not going to have the opportunity for that this year because Army doesn't pass the ball, which we've already covered plenty. But I think that, the defense is going to be tough. And this is the type of game, while we've kind of made a lot of offensive arguments here, and we've made a lot of arguments for maybe the over, but the defenses are going to be tough. It's going to be stout. If the Navy defense can force a turnover, get to the end zone at 40-1, that's one of those big plays you're going to be rooting for and you love to see. And then at 75-1, the long shot, Joshua Green, or Guerin, I guess is maybe how it is. I don't exactly know how to pronounce his name. Apologies. But he's 75-1. He's their big play guy. The other guy, 18-yard touchdown, whatever, he's the big play guy. He's only got 3 catches on the season, but they were for 16 yards, they were for 35 yards. Those are big plays, again, on teams like this. Not regular college football teams, maybe. But he's the big play guy, can go make that explosive play right when they dial it up, right? You go at him, you run the ball, play action, throw the bomb. Joshua Green, going to be that guy on the receiving end. 75-1, I think he's worth the shot. So those are your first touchdowns for you. And then, Rod, it might surprise you. I'm on Navy, -6. I found some -6s out there still in the wild earlier today. -110. It's open at like -4.5, and people have realized very quickly that you should be betting on Navy in this game. But you might say, well, Army, they got their ass kicked last year, Rod. Maybe it's time for them to, this is I heard that argument on the main show. Sean and Ryan and Colby, they're talking about, Army lost last year. You got to bet on them this year. That they're going to come back. That's revenge angle. 17 of the last 23 games they've lost. I don't know that Army's really is much about revenge, because most of the time they've lost, they've not come back and gotten revenge. So I don't think that they will. It is the final start for Blake Horvath, the senior quarterback. Been a leader there, been a great player. I think it's going to be a huge game for him. I think Newberry just proved to be the better coach last season, right? I think that did a great job and got things done. Navy can run the ball. They can throw the ball. And I just don't think Army's going to be able to keep up with them, and that's why I'm leading into that. Some alternate things you can bet on. You can get Navy to win by exactly 7-12. I think that's kind of a sweet spot in there. Like, you cover the 6 and you get just over a touchdown, right? A 2-score game, basically. 7-12 range, you get a plus 390 over on DraftKings. And then you can predict the correct score. So why not? Throw a dart out there. It was 31-13 last year. I'm gonna give Army a break this year, Rod. I think they do a little bit better. Let's make it 31-14 this year. 75-1. Why not?
Because it's not going to happen. That's why not. Because the Army will flip it around and be 31-14 and exact a level of revenge that Big Show. Look, I was listening to the Big Show too, and I was like, "Good job, guys! Way to go! Go Army, beat Navy."
All three of them picking the dog. That's what you want. That's perfect.
It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
That's exactly how you want it. Expert Sucks already said they're going to be on Army at the plus 6.5. Good. You guys all smart. Keep doubting the Navy, who's clearly been the better team in this entire matchup throughout history.
What did we say?
It 17 of the last 23, 14 in a row. Been the better team this year. You do throw the records out, but maybe you shouldn't throw the records of the past history out, because clearly it's all about the Navy.
I can't stomach anymore. All right, fine. Let's move to Underdog, where Underdog has been giving us some projections on this game as well. I will start out with Noah Short. His rushing projection is set at 33.5 rushing yards. I'm going to take the higher then on this one. I just talked about it. Noah Short is their big play guy. His average per rush, 6.1 yards per rush this season. He's got 552 rushing yards on 91 carries. He went higher than this projection last week when he had 127 rushing yards on 14 carries against UTSA. 33.5 is such a low number. I get it that Cale Hellums is going to be the guy, but Noah Short can just do it on a couple of carries and break this projection. 37 yards against Tulsa a couple of weeks ago as well. He had 127 yards against ECU, 61 against Kansas State, 43, and 61 against K-State. That's when Cale Hellums had his big 124 yards as well, so it doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. 61 against Kansas State, 43 against Charlton, 54 against UAB. Again, Noah Short, when he touches the ball, he's capable of going through 34 yards just on one carry if he does it. He's got longs this year. He had an 81-yard long last week against UTSA, a long of 60 against ECU, a long of 17 against UAB, 17 against K-State. So, like I said, he can get big chunks of this in one carry, and 34 yards is definitely doable for a guy like Noah Short, who is just their catch-all guy. And, by the way, another senior. He's going to be graduating this year too, so they want to get him a good game out the door.
Yeah, I don't know, Rob. I don't know.
That's fine.
What I do know, though, is Blake Horvath, senior quarterback for the Navy Midshipmen. I'm going to take his higher, 108.5 rushing yards. Rod, he did hit this one last year. He barely got over it as he ran all over Army for 204 yards last year. He's going to come back. Why wouldn't he just do the same thing again? He has been great. He's the leading rusher on the team, over 1,000 yards rushing this season, 174 attempts. He averages 6 yards per carry. Dude gets it done. They haven't needed him to rush as much the last 2 games, 54, 60 yards. But before that, 112, 174, 155, 130, 110, 159. Those are all rushing totals in a row, really, before the last 2 games of the season here. So I think that again, senior, final time getting to play in the biggest game. Go out there, leave it all on the field. Why would he not? He did it last year and had no problem. Went over 200 yards. All you need is 109 here. Give me Blake Horvath higher than 108.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, again, there's gonna be no. This is the show where none of us are gonna agree on anything positive about the other team. So I think they're gonna bottle up Blake Horvath. I think he's not going to have any sort of success whatsoever, and it's just gonna be a tough sledding for the senior. And he's gonna go out having to sing first, which is exactly what's gonna happen overall. But all right, let's move to the other quarterback, Cale Hellums. We just talked about him a little bit ago as far as his rushing total and his passing total. Well, they are giving us, Underdog, a half of a touchdown rushing and receiving as a projection for him. I am going to take the higher than on this one. Cale Hellums is the guy that scores touchdowns for this team. That's just plain and simple with it. He's got 15 total touchdowns this season for the Black Knights, and by far and away, it is the leader of the pack. Anytime he gets in close, he's the guy that ends up taking the ball. Again, 15 touchdowns for Cale. The next best person is Dwayne Coleman, the other quarterback who got 3 rushing touchdowns. Hayden Reed has 3 rushing touchdowns. Briggs Bartosh has 1. Jake Rendina has 1. Carson Smith has 1. Noah Short has 1. And that's it. That's all the touchdowns that have been scored on the ground. 25 of them in total. And Cale Hellums has all but 10 of them. So when Army scores, it will be Cale Hellums that scores.
If Army scores, that's you had it for it right the first time, Rob.
No. I was like, if there's a rushing touchdown, it is going to be Cale Hellums that gets that rushing touchdown. So I would expect this to have been at 1.5, but it's at a half. So I think he's going to score a touchdown for sure. So that's going to be an easy pick for that.
Speaking of easy, we just talked about Alex Tecza and how I think he can get over 100 rushing yards, over 120 rushing yards I gave out. All you need on Underdog is higher than 66.5. So, yeah, I'm just going to use that play over once again in this because he's been a stud. He's the senior fullback coming into this game. He's had massive production all season long. Like I said, he's actually been held in check by Army the last 2 years, and I think that is going to light a fire under him. And he wants to go out and leave his mark on this game. So keep it short, sweet, simple. Alex Tecza higher than 66.5 rushing yards.
No, that's not going to happen. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your loss already. All right. That's a wrap on the betting picks of it. And the Underdog picks. So let's get out your pen and paper. We'll go over these bets real quickly. Cody started you off with Cale Hellums under 64.5 passing yards at -112. I said that the Army's total would be over 15.5, -120 over on DK. Cody said that Eli Hendrick is over 45.5 receiving yards, -115. I need a new prescription. I said Cale Hellums would have more than 110 rushing yards at -102. Cody said that Tecza would have the rushing ladder going on over 64.5 at minus 114, 80 plus 154, 100 plus to plus 280, 120 or more is at plus 550. I said, give me Army at 6.5, plus 6.5 at minus 115. Take it on the money line at plus 194. Cody said that he gave you a bunch of first TDs out there. Tecza at plus 400. Brandon Chapman was going to be, or Chapman at plus 1,300. Navy DST at plus 40 to 1. Joshua Grind at 75 to 1. I said Cale Hellums, Noah Short would be higher than 33.5 rushing yards on Underdog. Cody said that, Cody gave you Navy at minus 110 to win. Navy to win by 7 to 12 at plus 390 on DK. Correct score, 31 to 14. Navy over Army at 75 to 1. I did that on purpose, by the way. And then I gave you Noah Short higher than 33.5 rushing yards on Underdog. Cody gave you Horvath higher than 108.5 rushing yards on Underdog. I said that Cale Hellums would be higher than a half of a rushing and receiving TD. And then Cody gave you Tecza higher than 66.5 rushing yards. That is the betting part of it. All right, so let's get to the point where we kind of share a little bit of our background. And, Cody, you were a proud sailor once upon a time. You still probably are a proud sailor, but you don't actively serve anymore.
I don't, Rod. I'm a little overweight for standards anymore. But yeah, I signed up. I was just a kid when 9/11 happened. I was 9 years old, and that kind of lit a fire under me. We lived near Omaha, near the Offutt Air Force Base, so watched the planes come in all the time and everything. But the Navy, I was always attracted to the Navy. The Blue Angels got me at a young age, the big carrier ships and all this. So decided to enlist. I joined at 17, left shortly after I turned 18. And I was actually never on a ship or near a ship or anything that you do in the Navy generally. So I was part of the Navy Seabees, which is a construction force, heavy equipment operator, doing dozers, graders, big stuff like that, building projects. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Had a great time doing it. Just did my 4 quick years in and out, and that was plenty for me. I went into it with the intentions of being a lifer, but 4 years was good. Got a lot of fun experiences. Went to Japan for a little bit. Okinawa, was deployed to Afghanistan for a few months as well. Spent some time over there. So got to see the world, which was part of wanting to join and be in. Had a great time. Made some lifelong friends. I've got some great buddies that I talk to just about every single day that served with. And proud to be a Navy veteran. And go Navy.
No matter what service you join, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, the just general camaraderie of everybody, right? I mean, like I said, we'll sit here and we'll rag each other all the time about Army and Navy and which one's better. But at the end of the day, we both know that being part of the armed services is something. It's a thicker bond than most.
Yeah, absolutely. It comes up a lot. I mean, we'll have conversations, and it's like, oh yeah, remember I did this, or you're still sort of in, right? Because you're dealing with it more often. So you'll bring some up and like, oh yeah, I don't miss that, or another reason I'm glad I'm not in anymore, right? So, we do, even though again, we've never actually met in person, being as far apart as we are. And you're in the Army, I was in the Navy, and our paths didn't cross in that, but yet we have a lot of shared experiences, and it's again a small percentage of people actually sign up to serve. And we're proud to be part of that percentage. Yeah.
So I pretty much just went through high school, not really I knew what I wanted to do, didn't know how to get there. I was a little bored at times, and I finally woke up between my junior and senior year when a recruiter called me and said, hey, I want to talk to you about being in the Army. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. He came over and told me, because I've been playing in the band my entire life. I've been a musician my entire life. And he told me that the Army had a band, and he had me right then and there. And I signed up, and I served 10 years in various spots across the country. And like Cody said, was able to go overseas. I spent some time in Korea, about a year there, probably the best year of my military career. What a great year that was. But yeah, so Korea for a year. I too was in Afghanistan for a little bit as well. So like you said, got to see the world, got to do a lot of fantastic things. And being part of the band, we traveled even while we were in the area that we were in. I mean, I saw parts of the country that I would have never, ever thought that I would have seen, right? I mean, the patch that I have on...
Yeah, that's got to be like a unique aspect of it, being in the band, being able to go out and do the performances, and you kind of get to spread your wings even a little bit more.
Yeah, and again, because the people that we're playing for, it's not just the people in the service. We're playing for civilians. We're playing for all kinds of crazy stuff. And the patch that I'm wearing now, which is what I love, because when I'm watching the Army and they're wearing the patches on the back of their helmet, a lot of times I was in that unit that they're wearing on the back of their helmet, and I'm just like, I wore this patch once upon a time. I've worn several of the patches that they've worn, and 10 years in active was exactly what I needed. Got out, started a family, and realized that I probably should finish the last part of my career up, 10 more years to be able to retire. And so I joined the National Guard, and now I'm still serving, and I feel like I'm actually going to stay for a very long time, because I can't start collecting till I'm 60. So I might as well just stay till I'm 60 and get myself a nice little retirement at the end of it. So I'm a lifer, and even beyond lifing at this point.
There you go. I love it. It's great. It's definitely something that I would never give back. I'm so glad I did it. Such a great experience, and again, just learned so much about the world and about life, and made bonds that can will never be broken. So. It was a great time being in the service, and again, just extremely proud of it, and had a lot of fun.
Yep. And if you're sitting here listening to this, thinking to yourself, "Hey, that could be me," it could do it. I mean, none of us would tell you not to do it. We'll tell
make sure you join the Navy, not the Army.
God bless.
Actually, I think everybody would agree. Join the Air Force, Rob.
Yeah, I was just about
even though we all clown on the Air Force. They got it better than everybody.
What did I tell my daughter? She says, "Dad, I'm thinking about joining the military." I said, "Then you need to join the Air Force." Like, that's join the Air Force. What would every member of the Army and Navy tell you? Join the Air Force.
They're the first ones we'll make fun of, but that's the branch we're all going to tell you to go sign up for.
It's because we're jealous. That's why. It's not because we
100%.
Real quick, so I used to live in the barracks in Texas, and the Air Force was part of that base as well. And we were sitting there talking one day with an Air Force, with an airman over lunch in the chow hall. And I used to live in the barracks, and they were like, "So yeah, I live in the barracks too." They're like, so how much are they paying you guys to live in the barracks? I was like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "Oh, you don't get any extra money to live in substandard housing?" I was like, "No, that's just
pay for the barracks."
Yeah, I was like, "No, that's just our housing." And they're like, "Oh." I'm like, "Man, get out of here, silver spoon ass. Get out of here."
The Air Force gets all the best, I will tell you that.
They sure do. Laura says, "I thank you both." Thank you, Laura, and hello. Good to see you.
Appreciate the support. Yeah.
All right. Well then, Cody, I know you have got some hot plans to get out to, and we need to get you out to those. But yes, everybody, we are going to be watching heavily this Army-Navy game this weekend, and we hope you do too. Keep up with us as we kind of lament. I won't be able to watch it live, so unfortunately, that's the sad part. But I still will watch it, and no spoilers.
I'll text you updates about Navy kicking their ass, Rod. Don't worry.
All right, follow me on Twitter. No, I'm just kidding. All right, well then, Cody, let's say goodbye for the week. I will be suiting up in my Army suit this weekend, but I will be 1,000% repping this show and the world.
Absolutely love it. Happy anniversary to my beautiful wife, by the way. 15 years, Rod. We got married on December 10th, and then I was deployed 18 days later. So she stuck with me through it all, which has been great. And so shout out to her. All right, follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my work there. Tons and tons of stuff out and available. Appreciate you checking out the show. If you just tuned in because you saw we do college football, we also talk a lot of NASCAR. Even if you don't know anything about racing, hit that subscribe button. Check us out. We have a great time over here, and hopefully can help you make some money on race cars and teach you about that too. But appreciate everybody joining and listening. And good luck. Go Navy. Beat Army. We'll see you later.
Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Hey, listen, we're two guys that love sports, man. That's really all there is to it. We'll talk about anything and everything that we love. And again, college football is this, but NASCAR is next. All right, follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. You can find everything that I'm up to and including some musings from this weekend as well. All right, we'll see everybody next week with some more. Well, we'll catch up on all that NASCAR news that we've got to catch up on. There's a lot to talk about. And, we'll just have some fun doing it. So until then, everybody, go Army, beat Navy. Let's go racing. Make NASCAR gambling fun again, and let it ride.
Another piece of us is broken.